There's a thing that happens when it snows generally, less so this morning because it was just a dusting, but very often when you get a snowfall that blankets the deck with 3 or 4 inches of snow, there's an insulating effect. You sort of wake up to a strange silence. One thing that I think um, sailors particularly develop is a sense of hearing that carries through even into deep sleep. And if you get a blanket of snow on deck, there are still sounds. There are always sounds within the boat. There are sounds from the rigging. But those sounds change. That blanket tends to mute more distant sounds. If there's a road nearby, suddenly you don't hear the traffic. You don't hear the birds squawking off in the distance like you would normally. It's a very different sort of muting. Unfortunately, it's not something that my skills will allow me to capture here. I wish I could, but take my word for it. You wake up when it's snowed and you know it's snowed. You know that you're under a blanket of fluffy white insulation. It's kind of nice. This snow sound insulation phenomenon gets me thinking a little bit about a theory that I've had for a long time about what it is that sometimes inexplicably allows sailors to wake up due to something that could have become a disaster, a ship approaching, uh, an unaccustomed or unexpected um, awakening from a deep sleep or from a sleep, because I think that sailors, particularly single-handers, never truly deep sleep. That that thing that gets you up just in time to avoid disaster. I often wonder if that isn't this situational awareness that one develops, particularly single-hand sailing, that perks your ears to every sound and catalogs them subconsciously. A boat hull, particularly a fiberglass hull, is sort of a drum skin. It's sort of a stretched skin, and I notice particularly propeller noise, and propeller noises carry for a great distance underwater. This sort of percussive, low background sound that you can't even really intentionally or deliberately hear, but it's there. So part of me thinks that this extra sense that sometimes keeps a single-handed sailor safe is really nothing more, in fact, than just the ears and the brain remaining on watch and remaining tuned in for unaccustomed sounds. I like to play a game here where, of course, every boat has its own propeller signature, but there are boats that come and go regularly here, fishermen and folks that live on the islands offshore. And quite often, those propeller noises reach me long before the boats come into sight. And the game is to uh, catalog and guess or eventually learn what boat is approaching just based on the sound. This morning I've got an addendum to the old sailor's mnemonic: rain before a wind, your topsails take in. I'm going to add to that. If that rain comes in the form of frozen balls of ice, aka sleet, you might want to just chop the mast down altogether. Anyway, so here we are, 2026, rolling in this morning, New Year Day. Overnight, I was anticipating somewhere around 10 to 15 knots of wind out of the southwest going west. That apparently didn't materialize. So off we went to run the generator this morning to make up for the battery power used overnight by the toolbox heater. what turned out, or what started out to be, a calm, very peaceful morning here, with a light dusting of snow that fell overnight, but it was flat calm. Anyway, the forecast was pretty clear that there's a gale coming, and when I heard the unmistakable patter of sleet on the deck around 9:30 this morning, I pretty much knew we were on the edge of the front. I thought I had time to get out and refuel the generator before I put it away, ready for its next use. But well, right in the middle of that, we went from 5 to 50 in a big hurry. Didn't get that on film, but it was pretty exciting for a while there. Now, I guess the moral of that story is if the form of precipitation that hits you before the wind happens to be frozen, it's probably a pretty sharp cold front edge that's headed your way. It's simmered down a bit now. It's settled down to northwest, probably 15, gusting mid-20s. Still pretty lively, but not nearly as bad. There's a driving snow that's coming down, sort of in squalls, comes and goes. Altogether, a relatively beautiful morning out here. There'll be a few more of these off-grid mornings, I guess, with the wood stove chuffing away, helping keep me warm with the morning slow brewed, slower consumed coffee. Just a relaxing way to start the day out here in the middle of the harbor. Charis pointed right way into the wind. All systems working as designed to keep her warm and dry. But it is soon time to call it quits for the season and take our slip. This year has brought us a pattern of very frequent gales with very short windows in between, not at all conducive to third or even fourth season cruising. Some years it goes that way. Some years you get long stretches of nice weather. One thing I can say with relative certainty is that Murphy was a sailor, so no sooner do we get our 14 dock lines secured, get down rigged and get the sails neatly stowed and put away, then it'll turn nice again. It'll warm up into the 40s and 50s, and there'll be some good cruising weather, but so it goes. It's the unpredictable pattern of New England weather. Anyway, this morning's philosophical rant, and I hope you're all starting off the new year well and someplace warm and dry and comfortable. And thanks for coming aboard this morning. If you enjoyed this video, please like and comment and subscribe, and we'll see you next week.